Welcome back. How we doing? How is everybody? Happy, I forget what day it is. Forget what day it is. But welcome back. Welcome back to the Funker News Network. I'll be your host tonight, Ronnie. And we got a couple changes that I'm going to make today. But not for the reasons you might think. I gotta unplug the thing. Not for the reasons you might think. Let's talk about why the chat's in subscriber-only mode, and I'm not going to be afraid to turn it into member-only mode. The team got together, we talked a little bit about the amount of trolling, and because the Funker News Network is something that's brand new, and anything that's new has to go through its growing phase. Anything that's new tends to attract attention, and sometimes that attention, for those members of the community that are just here to engage with each other, converse like human beings, every so often we're going to switch this bad boy into member-only mode or subscriber-only mode, depending upon how the chats do it. All right. Now, that's not meant to deter anybody else from engaging with the community. But right now, we're going to stay in subscriber-only mode, and there's a time requirement on that. A couple admin notes before we get started. Make sure you guys are in the Discord. Please be getting into that Discord, especially if you're a member, because our members have access to all of our discounts. So make sure you guys get in there. Make sure you connect your YouTube and your Discord accounts together. You do that through your Discord settings, because that's how you're going to get access to that merch discount. It's all the way up to 30% dependent upon your tier of membership. And we appreciate you for being here. Let's talk about why this show is here, what it is, and what it isn't. This show is designed for us to just have a chat about the footage that we're seeing out there. Right? I'm no expert on Eastern Bloc or on Ukraine. I'm not. None of us consider ourselves to be. We all just care very much so about what it is we do, and that is showcase what combat footage truly looks like, what war looks like, so that people can understand that. I don't pretend to have the latest and greatest information. I do my best to stay up to date. Me personally, my time's a little bit spread thin. For those of you that know me and that have made their way over to my channel as well, you understand what I mean by that. What this show isn't is a deep dive breakdown and analysis specifically of the invasion of Ukraine. It's not going to be a deep dive breakdown and analysis of Iraq, Afghanistan, Tunisia, which are three other places we're going to talk about tonight. But again, it's for us to engage, communicate with each other, and connect about the Funker 530 mission. Okay? Now I got to mention our sponsor before we get started tonight. It's going to be the Gun Box. The Gun Box, right now, you can have it for $199, and it's really dope. So if you're looking for something to store your handgun in, or valuables that doesn't look like a piece of junk sitting on your countertop or on your end table, click on the pinned link, the pinned comment I have up there. You might have to close the poll that I put, but click on that, head over there, at least give it an eyeball. I think you're going to like it. RFID access, fingerprint swipe access, keypad access. It can be mobile on a battery, or you can leave it on your end table. Let's head into the footage. We've got a lot to go over today. We were going to have a special guest today, but I'll always be honest with you. I dropped the ball on finishing, getting that one all scheduled out. All right, jumping in. Scoot, come on over here. Let's go this way. Here we go. Let's kill the music. Wrong button. All right, welcome back. How are we doing? Let's check in on the chat here. I want an AK-12. You and me both. I just got a new GAT, though. It's behind me. It's 100%. It's definitely an airsoft in 300 Blackout. Definitely airsoft. Really enjoy airsoft. Ronnie, how's it kicking, my man? Good, dude. Good. Always good now that I get to hang out with you guys. So let's jump right into some footage here. We had some bangers come out over the last, 24 to 48. Right, something we've talked about a lot is not seeing a whole lot from a Ukraine and I said that right, Ukraine perspective, being on the receiving end, and we're gonna look at some receiving end here. Now, I want to caveat ahead of time. I'm not going to show you guys anything mangled. I'm not going to show you anything that theoretically would be considered not safe for work, but I could tell you that this does not go well. Now, there's two angles we're going to look at here. And I'm going to give you what exactly is going on, at least in our mind, ahead of watching it. In the first angle, the original angle, an unknown, indiscernible group of troops are standing around what appears to be some piece of armor on the side of the road. A tank rolls up to within spitting distance and unloads with the main cannon on them. Right Not more than about 24 hours later, we now have a new angle of that. We're going to watch the first angle, and then we're going to watch the second angle. Now, just so I'm clear, we will not be looking at the aftermath footage, and we will not be posting that on the site. You will see dead bodies on the Funker 530 site. Regardless of what country they're from, though, mangled bodies that really don't provide any value outside of just the gore itself is not something we're going to post, right? So you're not going to find that. I'm sure you can find it if you go hunting. So let's check out this first piece of footage. Again, this is the original angle. And then I'm going to be checking in with you guys to get your thoughts on what you're seeing here. If you haven't seen this yet, I'd find it hard to believe that you haven't. This has made its way very rapidly around the internet. But like I mentioned, in this first angle, it's very difficult to understand what we're looking at here, or at least who we're looking at. But you'll see in the next set of footage. So like I said, when we first got this, it's just just blobs of people. I'm going to give you full screen here. And off here in the distance is a Russian main battle tank, or at least it has the markings. And that's all we're going to show of that. It doesn't show anything other than this individual presumably unassing himself from that AO. So he just kind of takes off and starts running. Now let's take a look at that again, but from a different angle. From a different angle. Right, and there are a lot of questions about this second angle, specifically, how did the phone survive? Remember, memory cards, SD cards in a phone are very small. Very, very small. So that's really all that needs to survive. The aftermath video is crazy. It is. It is. It's nasty. It's nasty. So here comes our second angle. Everybody's smoking and joking. Now we're going to point a couple things out here. So first and foremost, let's point out the obvious. Blue armbands, these are Ukrainians, right? These are 100% Ukrainians. And off here in the distance, down this highway, you're going to see two tanks come into picture, with a third even further off down in the distance. Right? Now there's a couple key points that we've run across, right? We've run across reports that this is, out here, and you see this first tank and there's a second tank here. We've run across reports that this is a friendly fire incident of some kind, I don't know, desk pop maybe. We've run across reports that, these are Ukrainians that had taken a Russian vehicle and mistook these individuals as Russians. The more likely scenario is that war is chaos and lines are intermingled and intertwined. And what you have is complacency of these troops seeing this Russian tank roll down this highway with clearly visible white markings on it, full well believing that these are Ukrainians. So you're going to see this tank get very, very close here. Aftermath is horrible. It is. It is, and we will not be watching it. And that's it. That's all. That's all there is. Just the shot there. Right there. That's it. That's all we have. So the most common consensus is that an element of complacency was involved. No markings on that tank. Point blank. Yep. Did you see the footage of Russia moving heavy military equipment near Finland? I did. There is more. Yes, you're right. And we're not showing it, especially not on YouTube. The aftermath footage is very grotesque. I'm sure you can imagine what a main battle tank would do to a compressed group of people at spitting distance. I heard they're saying, I hope he does not slap us in full video with sounds. Yes. Yeah, I did read that. I did read that. All right, let's move on. Let's move on from this one. We're going to switch gears here, and we're going to be looking at a lot of footage coming out of Mariupol today, because essentially Mariupol is on its last stand, right? Now, we have video footage that was released by the Chechens with their words, not mine. By the way, both of those tank videos were published by Will Kilmore. This one's coming from Josh, and this is our TikTok battalion doing, quote, mop up in Mariupol after what they say is the fall of Mariupol. Now, there are still small pockets of resistance throughout Mariupol right now, so I wouldn't say that it has fallen yet, hence the poll, but it's probably on its last leg. Ammunition shortages, food shortages. We'll talk about that in a little bit, though. Now, the question that I have for you is, are they actually firing at anything? Or are they just sending it down the hallways? No, it's not, Morgan. Love your mug, dude. I love you. I love you. Did he just say Allahu Akbar? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Where can I watch the full tank vid? So we just showed you 2 full videos. Again, they are separate videos. And then there is a third video showing the aftermath that you can find just about anywhere if you search for it on Reddit, in Telegram. But that's not something that we're going to show you. There's no purpose to it outside of morbid curiosity. Dude's got the kits, though. They do have some dope kits. Those custom AKs are nice. We're going to watch a little bit of footage from the Chechens today. We're actually going to watch them engaged in close combat. So while I don't think there's anybody actually in this building that they're, mopping up, I mean, they could at least mop the floors. We are going to catch them in this next video. One of them, at least, taken a round to the leg, while another sends a rocket downrange. Coming up for you guys here. Tactical towels. It's coming up for you now. If you're looking for a great place... My big dumb face there. And... here you go. Watch this guy in the back right here. Took one to the leg. These are our Chechens. Note the note Kadyrov 95 here. Oh, you guys can't see that. I'm gonna go to game or to the left screen here. Note the insignia. Yeah, he took one to the leg. Using Zintico furniture on those AKs, right? I've seen, yeah, and other things. So, is your PC case a Lianlio 11 dynamic? Yes, it is. It sure is. And you can see it here. Hello. Hi. Let's go back. I want to check in on a little bit of support from you guys. Thank you to all of our new members that came in over the course of the last few days. Paul, Sue, Nicholas, Brandon, Keith, Apex, Alan, Pringle. That's a funny name. It's not funny. It's funny. Whatever. It's funny. But thank you for becoming a member. Old Cowboy, John, Aaron, Neil, John, Hammerdown, Brian, Edgy Boa, Thank you guys all for becoming members. Make sure you guys get in the Discord if you're here. If not, we'll hope to catch you next time. If you guys aren't familiar with who we are Funker 530, and for the last decade plus, we've been focused on showcasing combat footage from around the globe, and we're actually going to look at a few things not from Ukraine today, specifically from Iraq, Afghanistan, and Tunisia. When's the last time you saw combat footage come out of Tunisia? There's a little bit of a history there, which we'll talk a little bit about. But we keep eyes out on the entirety of the globe for combat footage, conflict, as well as law enforcement use of force footage, largely so that we can cut straight down the middle of the mainstream media narrative, right? We do our best to be as unbiased as possible. We are human, and at least we recognize when we do have them. I purposefully hope Ukraine kicks Russia right in the ass. To each their own, right? We are showing both sides of the conflict in the footage, and we do that through our app. So you can download the app, !app, to get it downloaded. Let's jump into a few pieces of footage, not from Ukraine, though. We're going to look first, admin note, hit the like button, at Iraq. Now, this one kind of made me laugh. This one kind of made me laugh because if you recall when you were young and an uncle came up, he started tickling you. I imagine that's what this M1 Abrams felt when these guys threw these improvised explosives at him. We got an M1 Abrams here. Nice nasheed playing in the background. This is out of Iraq. That's either the coax or the top 50. I think that's the 50. That just opens up on this building. Again, let's just take an eye. Let's just look here, and you can see a cutout of them throwing these improvised explosives. That's not going to do anything, boss. That's not going to do anything. Okay. All right. Music is creepy. That is actually a nasheed. Nasheed is essentially scripture being read in a certain way to sound like music. They're just trying to help keep the dust off. When it ain't work, it's just making it more dusty. Just making it more dusty. Now let's take a look at... Now, I can't show you all this, so I'm actually going to give you a link to this because this one's not safe for work, and we try to avoid posting that stuff here. That's why we have our own platform. We have our own video platform where we manage the hosting, we manage it top to bottom, and we choose what goes on that site, right? So here, we have to abide by YouTube's rules, which means that we do our best not to show too much not safe for work stuff. But again, you can go to the website and you can download the app. I'm going to give you a link to this one. This is Tunisian SOF. Now, I can only show you the first minute and a half to 2 minutes. We're going to see fur missiles. We're going to see, once again, some pretty kidded dudes. If you guys remember, a couple years ago, in February of 2017, there was a report of a few Marines, Task and Purpose specifically covered it, that were in a firefight in an undisclosed, host North African country. Presumably or supposedly, reportedly, that was Tunisia. We're going to take a look at at a soft team of theirs, and this is a community submission using our submission form, assaulting a terrorist compound. Once again, some dope music. So again, we can only watch a portion of this. Some of it gets into some dead body kind of stuff. You guys can check it out on the site. I'm going to give you a link to it right now. And let's watch the video. If you caught that, check these dudes out. If you're not familiar with the general location of Tunisia, it's one of the northernmost countries in Africa. I could show you guys that on a map if you'd like. And we're getting right up to what I can show you here. In goes the fur missile. He comes out just fine. And that's about all I can show you guys of this one. So head on over to the website, download the app, go give it a watch. A dog better be okay. He is okay. He is okay. And he looks like a very good boy. Looks like a very good boy. The next thing we're going to watch is just an update, and we'll get back to Ukraine here in just a second, I promise. We're going to watch an update out of Afghanistan, and we've got the Afghan Freedom Front lobbing probably an RGD-5 over a fence or mud hut wall into reportedly a Taliban camp. Now, the Afghan Freedom Front previously called themselves the National Resistance Front, which technically has ties all the way back to the Northern Alliance in Panjshir Valley. Right now, these dudes go way back. That's, colloquially what they're calling themselves nowadays. Since we've been so heavily focused on Ukraine, I'm not as kind of up to speed. But as time goes along, you're going to find us covering a lot more stuff outside of Ukraine as well. We're going to be trying to hit major conflict zones and areas throughout the globe in each episode. So we're going to take a look at this, and you know that it is an RGD because of the fuse arming right before he throws it. All right, you'll see what I mean here in just a second. I'm going to give you full screen on this one. You're going to be looking bottom left, coming up for you now. Fuse armed. He tosses it. Explosion. But here's the interesting piece. We do see, yeah, there's that arm. What we don't see is any kind of a plume, any kind of, a dust cloud, smoke plume. I don't know if that's because the video just cuts out too quickly, but I would like to note that we do see debris, and it's very hard to see. But right up here is a piece of debris. And we could see the trees kind of shake as well. Now, there was a lot of discussions. Fake, or, every time we post a video, fake. I don't think this one's fake, guys. He's just lobbing a hand grenade over a wall. You can see, small amounts of debris. Anyway. That's a tall wall. Yeah, it's an outer compound wall. Outer compound wall. All right. Let's check back in over here. And we're going to move right into some more Ukraine footage. We might actually be moving pretty quick. YouTube's got a problem today with logins. A lot of people can't log in for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. We were actually having issues. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go live today. Fur missile. I love the fur missile. You got some Mariupol movies? Yep, we watched a couple when we started, and we're going to be jumping into some more Mariupol here in just a little bit. Just a little bit. Where's the dust? That's what I thought at first as well, Rick. But we do see, like I said, some of that debris coming up. Secondary frag is what that would be. Where are you finding these videos? All over the internet. Also, if you guys have footage from your own deployments or that you're finding, you're welcome to use our submission form, funker530.com/submit. Funker530.com/submit. My YouTube has been effed all day as well. Yep. Musk needs to buy biggest share of YouTube rather than Twitter. Yeah, come on, man. Help us out. This one, we got some Russian perspective footage coming to you. Ka-52 Alligator. This was released by the Ministry of Defense, Russian Ministry of Defense. And it was posted on the website by Josh, former Marine machine gunner infantryman. I love Josh's write-ups too. He's got this witty sense of humor that just adds so much to everything. And it's coming up for you right now. Again, I'm going to give you full screen on this one. Hold on. I don't know why, but that's the most Russian-looking dude I've ever seen. I don't know why. Back to the back. Yeah.
Вот видишь, ушли оттуда и здесь как раз вот. А 866 по нам работали? А 866 готов, подвижный сейчас. Работаю по нему. Работаем с максимальной дальностью.
Now, if you pay close attention here, you can see some vehicles. Something that we've seen a lot of is a lot of Russian footage that's coming out, and like the tank footage we watched where they strapped a GoPro to it and just kind of sent rounds off into the distance. We can see sort of the potential targets and such here, but once again, this was an official release by the Ministry of Defense. Is it supposed to shake like that? Yeah, it's a camera very close to the gun system. K-52 with that, kind of iconic dual rotor system. I think it looks dumb, personally. I happen to notice in the chat that we've shifted gears. Now somebody has said, "Stop supporting Russia." Can you pick one? A Russian bot commented yesterday that Russian bots don't exist. Whatever. Tara, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome in. Thanks for that. Seen a video of this thing getting smacked. We've got a lot of video of K-52s, between the various amount of, types and the amount of man-pads that Ukraine has received from Western countries. Russia's air capability has had a rough time establishing any semblance of air superiority. But the thing to remember is Russia defines air superiority differently than we do, right? They really align it more from a close air support perspective. We have it separated as an entire domain, if you will, right? Dump the Stinger by the Starstreak. How many of them were just sent over there? We have seen one video of a Starstreak, I believe. I'd have to go back and find that one though. That one was last week, I want to say. Next footage is some more footage coming from a Russian perspective. This is BTR-82A from Mariupol. Really just laying into buildings. Presumably they're doing that either from cover concealment denial or they're doing it just for propaganda purposes. One of those two, but here it is for you. Hey, Ralph. No, I'm not spicy today. I'm not spicy. And that's it for that one. Have you seen the video of the Ukrainian tank accidentally shooting their comrades? We watched that to start the stream today. We watched both perspectives of it. Yeah. Looks like propaganda. That's what I mentioned. Dark Side, thank you for the $4.99. No, Russia has used chemical weapons. Do you think NATO will get involved? That's something I have listed to talk about just after we go through our trending videos. But just to cover that has yet to be confirmed. Right, what he's speaking about is, somewhere in Mariupol there was a reported chemical attack in which three people reported symptoms of that. Now, we can go ahead and cover this now. I don't necessarily believe that is going to be the catalyst for any more escalation, with a caveat, right? If you look at a historical precedent of Russia's use of chemical weapons, that goes all the way back into Syria, right? Russia used chemical weapons in Syria against local population, as well as against, extremist cells, aligned with like ISIS and al-Nusra. But you didn't really see, although we had troops in the AO, you didn't really see us engaging directly. Now, there are a couple key differences. Obviously, Syria is not necessarily on the verge of being a NATO ally, Ukraine being a non-member ally. So that's the first piece. Where I say with a caveat is Boris Johnson of the UK actually made words matter in the things that politicians say. He said very specifically, I shouldn't say very specifically because I'm paraphrasing here, something along the lines of, we may have to respond even if NATO doesn't, right? That starts to get very interesting, right? It really does. Now, the scale of which the chemical weapons was used is very small. If you look at 3 individuals. Based on that alone, and you do have to look at this from a top-down perspective, would that be enough to warrant really stepping us off into something closer to a world war? Ukraine needs more Bayraktar. I haven't seen a lot of Bayraktar footage. Yeah, we haven't seen Bayraktar in quite a bit. Daddy Bayraktar. Maybe he's taking a nap. Not sure. Alexander Dvornikov. Yeah, I've got a note here to talk about him as well. How is Mariupol falling? Surrounded on all 3 sides. Russian forces essentially collapsing on top of the remainder of Azov, as well as the other Ukrainian Marines. Even a very well-known British-born Ukrainian Marine. He is not Cossack Gundy, or he goes by Johnny. He's got a Twitter. You can just go and Google that, look him up. His unit surrendered, citing a lack of food, a lack of ammunition, supplies. His unit has surrendered to the Russians. Essentially, they have just choked off all supply from Ukrainian forces in Mariupol. Where'd you get that mug? First of all, let me explain. I have no affiliation with these folks. I was given this mug on my first deployment by my OIC, and it's Battle Mug. Battle Mug. If you buy one, let them know we sent you. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. And yes, it does have a M16 carrying handle on it. I used to have like red dots and stuff because that's funny. And I like to have fun at work. Let's go into a little bit more here. We're not done. This one's interesting. So we're going to look at laser-guided munitions being used by Russians against Ukrainian positions, and we'll be able to actually see this from the laser or from the long-range surveillance team, whomever it is that is operating the laser. It's coming up for you guys right now, and in the bottom left corner, you'll be able to see that laser right here. Now, they are painting this building here. And essentially what's going on here is there's a laser that's emitted, a very high power laser, that's used from a targeting perspective. And it impacts. The dangerous assault mug. I'll tell you what. It's a full block of aluminum. It's machined out of a full block of aluminum. If you hit somebody with this, then it's gonna hurt. All right. Let's check in with you guys here. What rifles do you have in the background on the wall? They're definitely airsoft. Definitely not real, but if they were real, they would be on your left, my right, a Griffin Armament MK1 300 Blackout pistol, and on my left, your right, would be a Diamondback DB15. Fur missile, next merch. Got it. Just checking in on the chat here. I want to look at the poll as well and see what you guys' thoughts are on that. You guys are giving Mariupol a few days, and I would have probably selected the same. You know, there are small pockets of resistance that remain, and that's where things start to get real nasty, right? Very house-to-house kind of deal. Link merch, exclamation point merch. Exclamation point merch. A nice assault mug, thanks. Thanks. I too have a Diamondback DB15. Mine is an airsoft pistol configuration. I hope you love it. I hope you love it. All right. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to start up a new thing that we do every Tuesday. I want to go through the top 5 trending videos that we've seen out there. The top 5 trending videos. Chris, thanks for that $4 super chat. I appreciate that, man. Every little bit helps us. We are a small team. There's only 6 of us total, right? I am not the only one that works here at Funker 530. I am actually very much so part-time here. Most of you guys might know that. But there are only 6 of us that do our best to keep the mission alive. So every little bit helps. Memberships, super chats, all of it does. And I appreciate it very much. Crown, thank you for the 10. Last time U.S. and Russia got into it was 2018, 40 years. Ah, yes. Yeah. They got their asses kicked. Wagner. In Syria. And they chose to essentially assault a location that, you know, we had soft elements with direct lines to American air power, and American air power just destroyed them. All right, top 5 trending videos. So we're going to start with our number 5 trending video. And this is going to be a Ukrainian helo flying low and assaulting with rockets Russian troop positions. Coming up for you guys right now. I do not have sound on this one. This is our number 5 trending video of the last 7 days. And for number 4, this is Ukrainian helmet cam showing, you know, a lot all at once here. You know, we've got a firefight going on. We've got a cat tourniquet being applied. There's some music going on, looking down some scopes. It's just wild. Got a hole in my mouth. Coming up for you guys in just a moment. Here we go. And here it is. This is our number 4 trending video on the website over the last 7 days. Is that cat tourniquet? And that's it. That is the end of the video. See? Promise. That was our number 4 video. Number 3 video is kind of a humorous video. You know, war can sometimes be funny, especially when you look at it from a third perspective. This is a Russian soldier with the best cardio I've ever seen. Just sending it. Forrest Gump style. while a drone continuously follows him and presumably tracks him right back to his location. Coming up for you guys right now. Mama said they was my running shoes. He's still going. Still going. Now, where it starts to get interesting is look off to your bottom left here. Check on your bottom left. We've got Russian positions presumably here. And this Russian soldier shoulders his weapon as the drone gets close and is taking aim at the drone. Just breaking out some of the locations in the video. So that was our number 3 trending video on the site and on the app, ! App, over the last 7 days. Number two, we covered when we started. We've heard reports that this is friendly fire, Ukrainians in a captured Russian tank firing on Ukrainians. We've seen reports that these were actually Russians that made their way behind or, into Ukrainian lines that got close enough to within spitting distance. The number 2 is the alternate view that we just posted earlier today of this incident. We will watch that now. It's coming up for you guys here. Now, there is a version that's out there with sound, and there are also reports that one of them is saying, I hope this tank doesn't shoot at us or slap us. I have seen the aftermath footage for this, and it is absolutely gruesome. It provides no value outside of morbid curiosity, and you guys are welcome to go look for that. You're welcome to go look for that. You can find it on Reddit. You can find it on Russian telegrams, the same places that we find a lot of this footage. Now, I'd love, before this happens, so you can see these tanks off in the back here. There is a clearly identifiable, white marking on the front, presumably a Z or some kind of a white marking that typically would indicate a Russian vehicle. What are your thoughts? Right? For those of you that watched this at the beginning, is this a friendly fire incident? Is this something other than that, something involving complacency, Russians being able to make their way very close, fog of war type situation? Obvious Z on that tank. Yep. Right here. You can see a white marking on it here. Now, in the other video, the one we'll be watching it again. In the other video, we hear a second shot, right? It's not just the one shot. We do hear a follow-up shot. That's probably one of these 2 follow-up vehicles. This is a 3-Vic convoy that we're looking at here, right? 1, 2, and then there's a third off here in the distance, just barely visible. It's difficult for me to tell if this is maybe a 4th. It is. And that's it. So what we have is essentially the end of that video here. Tanks closed up. If they thought this was a friendly unit, then the commander likely would have been up in his turret. They are buttoned up. They are buttoned up. Yeah. All right, let's come off of that one. Now we're going to watch it from the other perspective. And this was the original footage that made its way out there. And there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions because originally you couldn't see the blue armbands. All you could see is just generally speaking a gaggle of individuals that get fired upon by a tank. The individual that's filming, presumably based on what we see, just takes off running. Now, we're going to watch this thing fully, and you guys will hear the second shot, right? You guys will hear the second shot. That's what makes me believe, or leads me to believe, that this is not a friendly fire incident, right? That this is not a friendly fire incident. Coming up for you guys right now. And this is our #1 watched video on the site the last 7 days. Coming up for you now. I'm going to give you full screen, and we're going to watch it all the way through. Okay, so hold on. Let's pause for a second. What we're about to see is what I would assume is this individual turning and going, turning and running. Listen carefully, and you'll hear a second shot. It's that piece that is almost the nail in the coffin. You know, for lack of a better phrase, excuse my phrasing, on it being a friendly fire incident. Right there. Accident, that's fact. Lightning doesn't strike twice, man. You know, we just heard the second shot. Too calculated? Okay. Fog of war. No returning gunfire. I don't think they really had that opportunity, to be honest with you. If it wasn't friendly fire, then who was in the tank that fired? Presumably Russians. Either that or you have, a purposeful blue on blue incident, green on green in this instance. Right? But we saw the original shot, right? Let's look at it together. We saw the original shot. Here. There's our original shot. And then at about here, we're going to hear the second shot. Wrong button. That's my music. Right there. Now, if that's an accident, what's the second shot for? Do we have a location for this? I don't believe we do. I don't have a location for it, no. Some of you guys might have a report on a location, though. Does anybody have a location for it? Now, I also read a report saying that essentially they were a volunteer unit. I can't confirm that, obviously. That is our #1 watched video on the site. I'd say it was a Russian tank. It's definitively a Russian tank. I think that is not even in question at this point. I think the biggest question at this point is whether or not, it was captured by Ukrainians and then a friendly fire incident, fratricide of some kind, or like I mentioned, if Russians had just, kind of found a way in blurry forward lines to make their way that close, right? You got to think about this. They're using essentially and effectively the same looking equipment, especially given that there's, in certain instances, handing each other equipment to some extent, right? I mean, the tractor has been the most effective Ukrainian weapons system of the entirety of the war. So there's, a host of Russian equipment that's now under Ukrainian control. So there's a precedent that there could be a Russian-marked main battle tank moving towards Ukrainian troops and it still be under Ukrainian control. That's the question, fake name, is why were they, complacent or kicked back like that? Right? But that second shot is what really does it for me. Guy filming seems like he knew what was coming. This is odd to me. Well, why did he run away? Right? Why did he run away? Now there were also reports saying that they were celebrating or looking for, quote, war trophies on other destroyed Russian equipment, which is there is a downed piece of Russian armor or a destroyed piece of Russian armor off the side of the road there. If you go back and take a look at the alternate view of it. So they were generally lax, probably, felt as though they were in a safe area. Just watch the aftermath. Yeah, it's not easy to watch, and you will not find it on our site. You'll not find it on our site. But those are the top 5 trending videos on our site for the last 7 days. If you guys wanted to do that, let me show you how you can do that. This is our website. This is the video we just watched. All you've got to do is click on trending up at the top. And then choose your time frame. All time, our highest watched video comes from early in the Ukraine conflict. And those are those Russian saboteurs that made their way into Kyiv. But we've got a pretty good video here. Peshmerga ambushing an ISIS truck. Let's actually watch this one. This one's wild to watch. I'm going to bring that up for you here.
Forward!
And I'll give you guys a link to that. You can head on over to the website and take a look. Do recommend that you download the app, though. That's how we're going to be able to reach you when we've got something that's kind of pressing or just hitting, recently. What if second was someone wiping out RPG? Yeah, maybe. How much are your hats and how can I get one? You can check out our hats using the command !merch. We partner with Bunker Branding on all of our merch. There's a couple hat designs in there. This one isn't even necessarily my favorite. It's just one that I have. There's hats, there's hoodies, there's shirts. We do still have a few pieces of our Ukraine designs. For those that aren't familiar, we sent over $111,000 to the Red Cross through deferring all of our merch sales for March. We sent that to the Red Cross for their program supporting the Ukrainian humanitarian aid. There are millions of people that are displaced without food, water, basic necessities because of this conflict, because of this invasion, and we're very proud of that. Again, we're a small team, and you guys are what enabled that and made that happen. !merch, !app. Hit those, please, and thank you. I still don't know who was who in that number 1 video. The group of soldiers are Ukraine, almost definitively. I think what's contested at this point is who was driving the tank, right? Chad Gaming, thanks for the $5. From a strategic standpoint, if NATO were to act, where do you see the first strike? I don't see it as a strike. I see NATO's first act as establishing a demilitarized area in the west of Ukraine first, under the guise of some form of humanitarian corridor, if you will, right? Essentially, then walking that corridor further and further towards Kyiv over time. That's what I see happening before any strike takes place. Crown, thank you for the $10. Chris, thanks again for the 4. Eric, thanks for becoming a member. If you're a member, get in the Discord because, again, that's where you'll get, up to that 30% discount on your merch. And Darkside, thank you for the $4.99. Hey, let's take a look at some campaign maps here. We're going to start with Live UA map, and then we're going to head over to the Institute for the Study of War. But first, a message from our other sponsor, us. Welcome back. Welcome back. I see a lot of comments about how to get into the Discord, how to find the merch. If you guys use the command !commands, and I'm going to run that for you now, you'll see all the different commands you can run. And you'll find commands for my other channel that I spend most of my time on. I'm over there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with games and guns like my Airsofts back there, having a good time with good people. All right, feel free to swing by and check that out. But you'll also find links to the app to be able to download our app to our merch. This is very bright, and I wish that would go away fast. You'll find links to the website. You'll find links to some of our partners. Were you ever in a branch of the military? Army, I have 2 deployments. On my website, you guys can read all about my military background on my website. Let's take a look, like I said, at this campaign map, and specifically, I want to focus on Mariupol, and at least where Mariupol stood as of yesterday. And it's coming up for you guys right now. I'm going to give you a link to where you can find for this. This is the map and assessment we'll be going over today. Coming up for you guys right now. We've watched a lot of footage on Mariupol, and this is done by the Institute for the Study of War. I love their work because they source it. They give me links that I can go and I can follow up on, each piece of, quote, open source intelligence that they are reporting on. Darkside, thanks for the $5. Just ordered the Funker 530. I don't need a ride t-shirt. Thanks for all you do from a fellow vet. Well, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for being here. Toad in a Pint Glass, thanks for the $6.59. How was the blue so pixelated in the first video, but couldn't see it in the second video? How was the blue so just different recording devices, different bit rates, different uploads. One might be uploaded and downloaded, uploaded and downloaded. Depends on the source of the video. Covert Arrangements, thanks for $1.99. Excellent content, thanks for all you do. I am just one small piece of the Funker 530 team. We've got Funker, we've got Josh, we've got Austie, Will, Tim, me. There's 6 of us here doing everything that we can to try to keep this ship sailing. Let's take a look at this here. So, Institute for the Study of War. You can essentially see where these general pockets. My understanding is Azov, and what is that? There's a plant down here, and I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. But essentially, this is the last bastion. These 2 pockets here of resilience in Mariupol. And if you're not familiar with where Mariupol is on, a large map, this is liveuamap.com. liveuamap.com. And we, again, only really cover the top level. There are a lot of great creators that are out there really diving into this stuff at a ones and zeros level. We're here really just to show you the combat footage, but we do talk a little bit about the campaign map, just to try and stay as well informed as we can. So Mariupol down here in the southeast, right against the water. Essentially, the fall of Mariupol completes the Russian land bridge between Crimea and Donetsk, Luhansk. Here. Now, these are the two locations that Russia is essentially asking for from Ukraine via negotiations, and it's the most contested piece of negotiation, right? So Russia has said, we will leave if you formally recognize Donetsk and Luhansk at their pre-2014 annex borders as separatist states, as well as Russia's annexation of Crimea. We will leave. And Ukraine said, no. Ukraine said no. Right? Now, Ukraine has agreed to capitulate in certain ways from a negotiating perspective. And this was, as of a couple weeks ago. They said, okay, fine. We won't join NATO. Fine. Leave. But you're not taking Donbass, Donetsk and Luhansk. You're not taking that. You're not taking Crimea. It's ours. It's ours. Russia is not at any point going to just stop. At this point, from, I don't know if it's a pride perspective or, a reputation perspective, they have to commit. They have to commit. If they just leave, and we talked about this at the very beginning, within a couple weeks, we realized that Russia wasn't having a very good time trying to invade Ukraine. They made it, kind of far in certain areas, but they got chewed up pretty bad in the process. But at this point, they are going to have to commit to this, because if you look at a global power scale, Russia has already lost too much of, from a reputation perspective, what they once had. They were the boogeyman growing up. Tyson, thanks for hitting the member button. Appreciate that. Welcome to the Funkers. Joke of an army. To an extent, I mean, Ukraine is, not going unscathed. And what the thing that you have to remember in this conflict is Ukraine has been winning the information war, right? So what you see is Russian loss after Russian loss after Russian loss, because that's the footage that's hitting the ground. But Ukraine is not without their losses here. And Russia still has, a good hefty force that they could bring to bear. Now, they're not going to overextend and do that. I think we're looking at much more of a protracted war of attrition at this point. What's up, Leon? Russia definitely thought they were just going to roll in and everything will be okay. Well, their losses in Kyiv kind of speak to that, right? I think the overarching plan was really to, if you had to ask me, the overarching plan was to secure as much of this land bridge as possible while taking Kyiv within a couple days. They tried landing VDV at Hostomel Airport. Here. Hostomel Airport. Right there. And initially were successful. Now, that's right outside of Kyiv. And they were going to use this as a way to rapidly get troops, rapidly get equipment, combat power in and around Kyiv. But Ukraine was successful in initially taking that back, then, reportedly, presumably, kind of destroyed it on their way out, pulled back, and established a defensive line on the Irpin. Here. This is the Irpin River. Now, that defensive line did not get crossed. So that failed. Russia's plan to encircle and encapsulate Kyiv, force capitulation, and be able to successfully walk away with Donbass and Crimea failed. They reported that they were successful, that their goals in the north were successful. And it's bullshit. It is. Russia digging up the soil in Chernobyl. Oh, that reminds me. We have some close-up footage of those fighting positions in Chernobyl, and I want to show that to you guys. Chernobyl. The search function works really well, by the way. If you ever need to search for a video on the site, just dump it into the search. Coming up for you guys right now, we're going to take a look at some of those Chernobyl locations. And if you're wondering what the significance of that is, if you haven't been here with us since the start, initially everybody was wondering, why are they targeting Chernobyl? Why Chernobyl? Well, Chernobyl is here, right? This red line that you're looking at is the Belarus and Ukrainian border. Here is Chernobyl, right? You have major metropolitan area here, Chernihiv, which was a major point, a contested point for a long time. But what you don't have any of those major metropolitan areas that can serve as logistics hubs from a defensive perspective between Chernobyl and Kyiv. So the Russian axis to take Kyiv started with taking Chernobyl, because that is the fastest route from Belarus to Kyiv. At one point, there were a few breakouts that started to get very close, but once they got to like that, 25 to 100 kilometer range of Kyiv, it was like they ran into a wall. Russians did. From the east, there was a breakout along this highway here for a little while. It got pretty close down into here. There are a lot of reports that there were, a bunch of mines that were laid on their way out. Zelensky talked about that very recently. But let's take a look at those fighting positions in Chernobyl. And for those of you that don't know what Chernobyl is a nuclear site that blew up, basically. So the entire area surrounding it is still radioactive, and the Russians were out there digging in the ground. And we'll take a look at some of those fighting positions here. Coming up for you guys full screen. Underneath of this is the old reactor. This was put up to try to contain some of that radiation, which is still very active in there.
Там как раз мышей селили. Оно и горело.
Чуєте? От зараз виміряємо радіаційний фон, він вже пищить, показує перевищення. От місце, де російські військовослужбовці в забрудненій території рили окопи, от, як видно, для людей, от для важкої техніки, для танків або інших важких машин. Дуже багато рили. Дуже багато їх залишків від їжі. Вони тут і жили в цьому лісі. І багато поспалювали.
На мешке написано, мешки даже российские с собой привозили. Русский ПХЛ какой-то.
Не проверяли? Бесполезно, прибор сломается. Не, это наш.
So, those are those entrenched Russian positions in and around the area of Chernobyl. There were reports that something like 7 buses of Russians were transported to a hospital with symptoms of radiation sickness. The original story that Josh put up, and I want to say that, Josh also posted this article as well on the website. I'll give you guys a link to that. You should definitely go read it. There's an analysis section for those of you that don't know. So check out the analysis section. That's where we put a little bit of context into it. Something that we're very proud of is our team is entirely veteran operated, multi-nation veterans as well. We've got Canadian infantry, American infantry. So there is valuable input coming from our writing and editing team, our journalists that are on board with us. We've got journalism certificates on board with us, and I think that's what separates our site a little bit apart from the pack, if you will. Is it's not just a video hosting site. We are not a gore site. That's not our goal. You're the best. No, you, Courtney. No you. Dark Side, welcome to the Funkers. Thanks for becoming a member. Tyson, thank you for becoming a member. All right, let's double check on some of my notes over here. I just want to make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to tonight. We talked about the top 5 trending videos on the site so far. We've talked about Mariupol quite a bit. We talked about Cossack Gundy, which is a British-born, now Ukrainian Marine. He is not a mercenary. He is not a foreign fighter. He's British-born, and he intends to stay in Ukraine. He and his unit of Marines in Mariupol have surrendered to the Russians, citing a lack of ammunition, lack of supplies. And you guys can see based on, even live UA map, how surrounded Mariupol is right now. Coming up for you really quick. There's next to no way Ukraine would be able to get supplies to Mariupol. So we talked about that for a little bit. What we haven't talked about yet, as of Friday. So Russia, at least on 2 occasions now, has tried to target financial and infrastructure via cyber attack. The latest being Friday. You might not know that I am a CISSP certified cybersecurity guy. That's what I do for my 9 to 5. I'm hoping one day that I can turn content into my 9 to 5. But right now, I've been doing cybersecurity for about 15 years now. CISSP stands for Computer Information System Security Professional, right? What we essentially have is a remake of the malware that was used in 2016 against Ukraine's electrical substations. Now, this specific piece of malware, at least the malware that was targeting the Windows systems, because they also levied, malware that targeted Linux and Solaris as well, operating systems. This malware was capable of impacting industrial control systems. So theoretically, it would have been successful. In all of my research about that specific cyber attack, which occurred just this last Friday, I was not able to find essentially how or why it wasn't successful. But if you guys want to read about that specifically, this unit is what we call an APT, or at least the group that conducted the attack is what we would call an advanced persistent threat, and they are attributed to the Russian GRU. Right. You can read all about that. All you got to do is Google Russian cyber attack Ukraine, and you're going to get tons and tons of articles. But we talked early on about how and why we didn't see Russia targeting Ukraine's infrastructure via cyber electronic warfare capabilities. We are seeing that now. Sandworm. Thank you, Matthew. Yep. Love it when you talk nerdy to us. Hi, Ian. How are you? Welcome back. We need a Funker 530 beer. Yeah, that'd be dope. I'd drink it. Cheers to you, BSD. Cheers to you. Hopefully Gundy is okay. Yeah, so that's something that I'm going to be trying to pay very close attention to, or as much as I can, is on Johnny. And, hopefully, I know what's likely going to happen is they're going to use him as a bargaining chip for POW exchange. Hopefully. I think that's the best case scenario at this point. I'm really hopeful that we don't see anything else outside of that. Certified Information System Security Professional. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. But I'm happy to post my certification number if you guys really needed that. Is Willie still in Ukraine, Ronnie? Not that I'm tracking, Morgan. Not that I'm tracking. And thanks for that, Wildflower. I've held that certification since 2015. Funk beer. Would it be a sour? Well, if Funker 530 had a beer, would it be a sour or would it be like a lager? What's your opinion on Kaspersky Labs? I don't use it. Purposefully. I think personally, I think you're better off in the current state of it running and keeping updated Windows Defender and Malwarebytes Pro. Be smarter about what you do every day, and you'll cover all of your bases with that. A lager? Please not sour. Sours are nasty. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do IPAs either. You know what an IPA is? You know what an IPA is? Let's talk for a second. Let me tell you what. Wrong button. Let me tell you what an IPA is. IPAs are pumpkin spice lattes for basic white dudes. That's what those are, because they're nasty. They're nasty. I don't like it. Windows Defender is actually pretty darn good now. It is. Yeah. Yep. IPA's trash. Yeah. It's horse piss pretending to be beer. Yeah, it's gross. It's gross, man. Can't do it. Ryan uses Microsoft Edge. I do. It's getting real good. I like it. It's real fast. You know, the new Microsoft Edge actually isn't too bad. It's not. I don't use it. I actually use Opera GX, if you were wondering. Opera GX. When we're streaming, I use Chrome. Because all of my bookmarks and stuff are over on Opera GX. Guinness for life. I love a good Guinness. The best part about Guinness for me is, you know, St. Patty's Day just passed, so the missus picks up a 6-pack of Guinness to make the corned beef, and it always leaves 5 left for me, and oh, that's my favorite time of year. I don't eat bread. I'm on a carnivore diet. The only carbs I take in, I drink. Funk beer should be a stout, should it? A stout. Americans in Michigan live on beer. What's so crazy? Nothing crazy about it. Let's go back to my notes over here. I wanna finish things out. Also got some messages here. Okay. Advances in the East. We can cover a little bit of that. We can cover a little bit of that on where the current priorities are from a, you know, Russian push perspective, and it's very much so. There are really a couple lines of effort. The majority of that combat power that we saw leave, those of them that they haven't sent back to home station, have moved into the Kharkiv axis, as well as into the Donbass. And once again, we're going to go back to the Institute for the Study of Wars map here. You know, again, I can't say enough good stuff about them. It's easy to digest, right? Your green areas, I don't know why none of my transitions work there. Your green areas are really where the heaviest fighting has happened, right? Now, you do have this push down here in the south to try to take back some of this real estate towards Kherson, right? That's actually kind of key and pivotal. Any blue areas are going to be Ukrainian counteroffensives. But Izium is a key spot here. We've talked for a few weeks about, you know, Russian attempts to fix these far eastern Ukrainian forces, if at all possible. You know, you even run the risk of these Ukrainian forces kind of getting fixed in place if Russia goes for, you know, something that's a little bit, you know, faster flash to bang time, if you will. This push straight down into the, you know, just north of Mariupol there is not going to be simple. You know, Ukraine is not going to make that easy. There are a lot of Ukrainian forces in here, right? It's not as simple. And Homini of the West, whom we've talked about before, has a great map that shows the actual unit breakouts. You can check him out on Twitter if one of you guys happens to. I mean, I could probably just pull the link up at the end here, but I love his maps because it shows the breakout of Ukrainian units versus the Russian units. This one is the easiest to digest out of the gate, though. I really wish your cursor was more visible. Yeah. So as you know, the show kind of develops. This is new for us. We've technically had the Funker News Network since October of last year, but it was all edited content. We started the live stuff when the invasion of Ukraine kicked off, And if you were to go back and watch the very first stream, which occurred the night of the invasion, to now, we're slowly kind of trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly, if you will. That's why we have all of these different screens and overlays. That I just all that up, but we're getting there. This is not the end state of the show. This isn't what it's really designed to look like, you know, when all is said and done. Those soldiers who were killed from the tank were Russian soldiers dressed as Ukrainians. Interesting. Because it was a Russian tank. I haven't seen anything to substantiate that at all. Your stream looks great, actually. Thanks, Sean. And I think something that's different is there's a lot of great creators out there that are putting together, you know, edited content that has a little bit more of a narrative storyline to it, focuses on specific things. Our show is designed to be live and interactive, right? I've got general topics that I want to cover, but it's really going to be, it's really going to change minute to minute. Now, we will eventually, once I'm able to kind of break into a little bit more time against content. Like I told you, I have my 9 to 5. I've also got other stream stuff that I do. But once I'm able to break and dive down into more content, we're going to have those edited, very specific topic videos. And again, the live show is a discussion. It's a discussion. I'm going to have those topics I want to cover, but, you know, I'll be checking in with you guys and the questions that you have. There's a lot of folks that are asking questions, so I won't be able to catch them all, but I'm human, right? Ukrainians in a Russian tank, Russians in Ukrainian uniform. Yeah, that's wild. No evidence of the gas attack, Robert. Not that I've found. Not that I've found. No. Thanks to the whole team. Keep up the great work. Peter, thanks for the $4.99. Strange the cameraman knew what was coming. That's hard to say because the cameraman turned around and ran away right at the end of it. The stream is underrated. You're underrated, Davey. You're underrated. Guys, that's going to probably close things out for us for tonight. The next time I'll be back live here is going to be on Thursday. We're going to be live Thursdays right at 6 o'clock, and we'll go probably right about to the same time here. But if you want to follow me live, you can swing by my channel, and I'll be live there tomorrow talking about guns, playing some games, and kick back with some good people. I'll post a link for that once we close things out here. Make sure you download the app. The app is the #1 way for us to get these videos to you. You'll get these videos long before I have a chance to talk to you about them here. Here is really just about engaging with you, talking about it. But download the app. Make sure to turn on your notifications. You will have to sign up for an account, but that's because the app stores don't like our content and want us to hide it behind an account wall. That's not our choice. It's theirs, right? So download it, sign up for an account, use the comment system, get in there and engage. And I can't tell you how much it means to have you guys here with us, all right? We'll see you guys either tomorrow on my channel or on Thursday, right back here for some more videos, some more discussion, and stay informed. I'm out of here.